Even until today, they're still hasn't given up full rule. They give over some power, but they're still running the country without direct rule. They do that through other means. Ethiopia had prevailed. If we had a different learning, I think, then we could celebrate the victory of the Lion of Judah. Because his victory was about celebrating in the spirit of Christ and do not reward evil for evil. That was part of his victory. But one other thing I want to mention, at the end of this conflict in 1945, all these people took retribution against each other, even today. Last month you saw on the news, the Chinese were stoning Japanese cities in businesses in Shanghai because of that war. Nobody showed mercy, nobody showed forgiveness. Only His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. Our Imperial Majesty brought new light in how to treat an enemy, with love, which is what the Bible says.
His Imperial Majesty taught respect for each other, collective security, international peace, coexistence, economical trust where there's free trade amongst countries. You know what I mean? Where man is learning from each other because there's a positive feel to man. There's so much we can learn from each other. You don't have to really deal with the destruction of one another, And Rasta don't really teach that.
As you can see, I grew up to know Rasta. And Rasta is love.
One prayer that my grandfather always said is Kibubuako Erekodele. We classify this place as a bush, okay, a place of work. And we have to bring all our people back home. One day, all blacks shall be in Africa, where we belong. Africa shall hold and unite as one.
Ethiopia was not the first, is not the only, or was not the only black independent country that black king or ruler. Haiti, our next door neighbor. But Rasta tend to, and many of us tend to overlook the importance of Haitian independence and what happened in that country. It was also an independence day from 1802, or 1804, sorry, with black leaders and a black country. But I've never heard of anything in which the Rastafarians are sympathetic or empathetic towards the Haitian situation. You're talking about race consciousness, you're talking about oppression and repression and suppression. And look on how the white world treated Haiti after its independence in 1804. Even up to this day. So then that gives us a situation in which we ask ourselves, I think Rasta could have done or could be more focused on what's happening locally.
Well, I think the repatriation is symbolic. Each person has to repatriate in their minds first. It's a psychological thing first. So repatriate, find Zion inside of you, find the emperor and the empress inside of you, repatriate Africa inside of you first. And if you make the physical journey, that's even better. In the future, many of us will find ourselves repatriating back to Africa, but smaller works have to start first, and the individual spiritual works start first. So that's what I say. I don't say, everyone pack your bags and go Ethiopia. No. Home is here. Home could be Jamaica, Trinidad, Japan, England. Do it spiritually first, and then the rest will follow still,
The Bible shows you that we're children of Israel like grains of sand. So, who's to say my real roots could very well be somewhere other than Canada. And I love Canada, that's not a slight against it, because Canada's what I know. And it's brought me this far, and it's made me, in a large way, who I am. But there's a call for me to my homeland, and that's Africa for me.
Going home to Ethiopia, to a black country, black king, black governor, black people, you know, it's more or less akin to the same thing. But the unfortunate thing is that they don't want to be remaining in the society, which is their home. Many of them went to Abyssinia, to Ethiopia, in the 1970s, but they were disenchanted. They came back home. Going to another country, you don't know the language, you don't know the people, you're not accustomed to the culture. You're going to suffer from a culture shock, because although we have the same color, we might not have the same culture, and that can cause some degree of culture shock and disappointment and disenchantment. Whereas you stay right here, where you are, you can make a lot in terms of that cry for social justice.
His Imperial Majesty gave the Rastafarian brethren an area in Ethiopia. In fact, that's where this brethren here, Neville Garrick, who was the photographer for Bob Marley and the Wailers, he lives there now. He gave us an area called Shashamani, which is, you know, not totally the size of a province, but it's a very large area where every Ethiopian, you know, home and abroad may go to.
Repatriation is the most significant thing to a Rasta man. One aim, one God, one destiny. Ethiopia today, Ethiopia yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You understand? This is the value that I hold deeply as a Rasta man. Repatriation is one of the most powerful things could ever happen to the black man. Who built the West? Who built the buildings? Who dig the road? Who take care of the children? Who cook the food? Who plant the fields? Who do all these things? Is these people could do that for themselves? No.
So black people, pull your socks up and get ready. We are ready to leave out of this western, desperate, barren land. There is no good down here. The man said the only good is for us as world people is international freedom, redemption, black international repatriation. He said the black God in flesh. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Until this be achieved, then we will know we will have no world peace upon this face of the earth.
Really, Jamaica really not gonna be my, Jamaica not really my destination. Because the West, I got destroy still, and Jamaica is in the West.
A lot speak about repatriation, and they have to keep in mind that if you're unproductive here, then you're going to be unproductive when you get over there, because you have to step out of that mindset. We have to have a plan to go back to Ethiopia. We can't just go down there and sit down. We have to have a plan, and my plan is, while I'm studying natural healing, my plan is to go there and open a hospital.
Spiritually, yes, of course. I vision see myself in Ethiopia more than one time. So from the spirit is there, I know say the good is going to be there, but the body will go to the cemetery. So I know deal with body, a goodie we deal with. All over the America, a reptilian them, the whole of them, and the Indian people them for own America. Them red Indian, they want it, but them driven back across the border going to Azteca over Mexico. And them people and the Ottawa Indian, them in Canada, and them control America for them place. So in time to come, what we say, Ethiopia for the Ethiopian, China for the Chinese, India for the Indian, and Europe, all white man, woman and picnic. The man said this one for go back. So we want ship. Man said ship in the harbor. You see, because the man said the only development for black people down here in the Western Hemisphere in this diaspora. Whether you live at Jamaica, St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbados, you couldn't live at Canada, America, or England. The man said anywhere there in the West, you're a slave.
We didn't buy a ticket to come down here. Naturally, we come down, packed like sardine in a ship. So naturally, we want to go back home. It's not only a few of us. We are here chanting for the whole world of black people to go back where them come from. Because the Empress say, China for Chinese, they have to have their repatriate too. India for India, Europe for Europe, Africa for us, the slave children to go back home. So if me buy a ticket, and Sister Sharon cannot buy a ticket, I go into Africa and I leave Sister Sharon and for our family. And not somebody come down here, the whole of it come down here packed like sardine. You understand? We don't expect to go back up packed like sardine.
The Black Star line, which, you know, some people will know as a rap group, Mos Def and Talib Kweli call themselves the Black Star because of this Black Star line, which was a boat, you know, not even a boat. It was like a fleet ship to carry people back to Africa, you know, and all you had to do was really pack your things. But the FBI and the CIA stopped him, you know, sent him to jail. But the ship did exist, yeah, man, I have a picture of it still.
7 or 9 miles of Black Star Line, a ship. And if that cannot do, it'll take 13. So that means he's not just here for us alone. He's here for everyone. To land every man and woman under his or her vine and fig tree.
We know that there's a universal interest in Rastafarianism, a universal interest in the music of Bob Marley, etc. So what we're looking at has appeal, you know, to people across races, nationalities, globally. And should we be surprised that Jamaican Rastafarianism has impacted on the other Caribbean territories? You know, so I travel up and down the Caribbean, especially the English-speaking Caribbean, and one encounters Rastafarians all over the territories.
We find quite a large number of persons of different color, race, and ethnicity becoming part and parcel of the Rastafarian movement. You find a number of whites. In fact, we find also Asiatics, Japanese, Chinese, Rastafarian.
What's up, man? He's a good dude. You could film this guy. Anything spiritual can't be race-based. Anything divine doesn't deal with race. Anything spiritual transcends race. So, although Rastafari is rooted in ancient Africa and rooted in the African diaspora, it's a global thing. And you see people from all walks of life, white, Chinese, black, brown, everyone interested in it. So it transcends, it's subconscious, it's psychological, it's spiritual. So one of the biggest things we need to do is see beyond that. We can't escape the fact that it's quote unquote rooted in an African experience, but it's global. So that's just showing you that it's rooted in something deeper than that, deeper. That's why when I was in Ethiopia, I see some blonde hair, blue-eyed Swedish girls walking through Addis Ababa, Rastafari, and the local people can't believe it. They say, why do these white, rich girls from Sweden, why they come here? Why are they into Selassie and Rastafari? They don't understand, but it's just a sign that this thing transcends space, time, geography, nationality, gender, age.
You see, man say white to white and black to black, China to China. So I let some black man me see they are not foreign. But them a come there with white man. A judgment, because the man say, you know, no go out on the seat no more like a cut off thing. So no for now build up some whole a new nation in the earth. And so much black woman they are foreign and no one take up the black woman. You not run down vanity, you run go sell all in the soul. You see? So them the command there we know say go sell out. Just if when you go sell out you see it, Marcus Garvey say a race suicide that them commit. So them never know all them things there. So we not commit no suicide within the race. So when I tell a one if you stick to your quarters, that don't mean say I hate you.
Racial connotation comes because of arrogance and illiteracy, common hatred and pettiness, which are marks of the devil. This is why our Imperial Majesty told the world that until the philosophy, which holds one race superior and another inferior, there will be war. It's just a philosophy.
Selassie's words himself. Until the color of the man's skin is no longer significant than the color of his eyes. Perfect timing. It's simple. The words of him himself, you know? So it's a holistic thing. It's one love. So bring the people in. Bring everyone in, you know? A worldwide thing still, you know?
Racism is a foolish thing. You know what I mean? Because what we're dealing with now is a spiritual thing. You know? Bob said, and the Bible say it too, you know? I ain't really come to fight flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high and low places. So racism is passé.
You have a lot of bitter people who remember slavery, who think that they were denied what was theirs. They feel that the world owed them a debt of some kind as a result of the slavery. And many people have a point. And of course, there is lots of families who were dislocated and lives that were taken in a system that was condemned eventually by the whole world as something not right. Unfortunately, so far, no compensation for damages can be worked out and given to the people. But this is not my outlook that our spirituality as Rastafarians is something that is reserved for the black people or people of color. It is for the spirits and the souls that seek righteousness and equality and justice.
If there's any ruler for Rastafari, I would like to see them to be, you know, visibly African because of the struggles we went through and who the oppressor was. I mean, it's only comforting.
His Majesty taught us that racism is not a thing that can exist. You know, man is equal to all, and race doesn't really exist. You know, because remember, Christ came for the Jews and the Gentiles. You know, so race is a thing where God created it, and man is the one who tries to separate it. You know, and I don't really subscribe to that. You know.
Well, of course, there's racial barrier by people who construct racial barrier in their consciousness. But how could the worship of the Creator be a racial thing when the Creator created all race? So you have ignorant people, and you have people who are brainwashed, and you have other people who have different concepts and different ideas and different spiritual outlook of life and different expectation from their spirituality. Them looking for a different type of Zion, or them look for a different thing, them looking for a different gift or a different reality from their almighty being that they imagine in their self. Say, well, my God is this way and him only love black people, him don't love white people. I can't stop a man from imagine that. Him have his own imagination. You see, in my reality, that is not a reality.
When I started letting that vibe out and reaching my potential, you know, I started growing my hair. It was all a process, you know. As it still is a process, you know.
Rastafari is a mystical incorporation of your heart. It's not a hair thing. If I trim my head tomorrow, would you call me a bald head? I forbid it. Rastafari is a mystical incorporation of your heart.
Well, the ear is out of the Bible, so when you separate yourself to live the life of a Nazarene, you don't cut your ear and you stop comb it and you wash it and you remain holy as an outward sign of the vow of your separation, where you separate yourself unto the Almighty if you live a life by a vow that you take in the presence of the Most High. And your observation of your vow is to let the locks of the ear of your head grow as an outward sign until the days be fulfilled where you take your vow. So some man might say, well, he might go live certain life for 10 years and grow him dread now, cut him dread and he'll live certain way for 10 years and then the end of that 10 years, you know, him cut off him dread. So you see, some man take a vow, say from this time forevermore, him now cut him dread and he'll live certain way, you see. So that is the real origination of the locks. But nowadays you can go to the hair salon and get a dreadlock style, so it become a hairstyle now. But for the real Rasta man, him don't trim the hair, him don't shave him beard, and those things, don't use coloring in him hair and that type of thing, you know, to enhance his physical appearance, you know. It is an outward sign of your naturality, the way God created you in your perfection. If you allow your hair to grow on your chin, you let it grow because you believe it is part of your outward sign of your perfection.
In the last days, my children will be known by my name upon the forehead. And the children of Babylon will be known by his name upon their forehead. So where's the name of this? When you see me here, you say, a Rasta man, the Rasta man, Rastafari. That is the almighty name. Rastafaras mean head, and Tafari mean creator. You see? So we become head creators, Rastafari.
I've always wanted, I had a dream actually of growing locks. I guess many of us have a dream. Like that song goes, it goes, my dream last night was when I thought me, I don't know me Rastafari. Well, I had a dream too, and I looked in the mirror and I had locks. And, you know, it was just in me. I just had to do it. And I call that a calling. I don't call anything coincidence, or I call that a calling. And, you know, obviously coming from the old school with my mom, she didn't approve of it, but it's something that I had to do. I used to perm my hair, and perm never really took my hair. Why is it that I used extra strength perm and my hair is still nappy? My friends used to laugh at me in high school. And that's a sign to me. Nothing's coincidence. That's a sign to me saying, you know, I should stop doing this.
If you see a priest in a jacket and tie, would you know he's a priest? No. If you see him with his tunic, one time you see he's a priest. That's why I decided to grow my hair. I could have been underneath and trim my hair and say Rastafari and be free. I am a lion. I am dread. I'm standing up here and let you know Rastafari is a mystical incorporation in your heart. You don't have to have a dread to be Rasta. But if you mean Rasta, you have to show people you are Rasta. And let people see what you stand for. It have complications. It have jobs. But you're out in the West, so therefore you have to trim your head and humble. You have to creep to crawl, or crawl to creep. Not me, I'm not creeping, I'm not crawling.
I don't really appreciate the misrepresentation of Rastafari still, but in anything you find, there's gonna be some, you know, wolf in sheep clothing, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's hard to be defeated still. You know, there's good and bad in everything, you know, so.
They don't know the tenets of the movement, the creed of the movement, what the movement developed, came into existence for, why was it established. They don't know nothing about that. They just see it as a fashion. It's nice to wear my locks and flash. Bob Marley wore his hair and flash my locks. I go on stage and flash my locks too. And strum my guitar. Fashion.
I don't believe that Rastafari have any license or legal ground to stand to say they own the dreadlock hairstyle, because Rastafarian people in Jamaica were not the first to wear their hair like that. It is from the Bible days, and you have more warriors in Africa who used to wear that hairstyle. And many different tribes around the world, their hair grow this way naturally because they don't have comb, and they never discovered or found the need to invent the use of a comb, so their hair grow naturally in dreadlocks and they accept it naturally, you know. So to me, to some people, it might be a problem that people wearing dreadlocks, but to me personally, I don't use the dreadlocks to signify, I never did use the dreadlocks to signify that this is an article Rastaman, because anybody can wear dreadlocks. So it's not about your hair or the clothes you wear. You could be a bald head and you'll be a more article Rastaman to me.